Hey guys, I'm here with Taj and Sammy. We're here in our new state-of-the-art detail center. We just pulled a customer car in right here, and we've got a lot of work to do on this car. So we're gonna take a quick walk around. What we're gonna take a look at today is what we can actually recover on this car. So if you're looking at it, you can kind of see some of the spots on the hood. You're gonna see some sap spots. You're also gonna see some bugs. Bugs are highly acidic. They'll eat through the paint just like the tree sap will. You see some bug spots here. And up here, you see a little paint chipping as well. We're gonna keep walking around. You're gonna see some scuff marks here. The customer said that was from a snow shovel. Sammy's going to wet sand that, and he's also going to
touch it up a bit.
All right, we're gonna keep walking around the car. You're gonna see some additional scratches here inside the door. A lot of times you'll see scratches around the door handle. That's from keys and such. That's not uncommon at all. We're gonna check up on the roof. You're gonna also see some more sap on the roof, as well as some additional scratches. A lot of times that's just from people going over it with their snow brooms or whatever they're using in the winter time. You'll see some additional scratching up there. It needs a little buff work in and around here. One of the most common areas that we deal with right here is the trunk lid. What happens a lot of times is people come out, they'll leave stuff on here, they'll put it on there while they try and open up their trunk. And if you get in close, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of damage on the trunk. Most of that Sammy will be able to take care of. The bumper has a similar situation. When people open up their trunks and they're dragging stuff in through, they're gonna get a lot of damage on the bumper line there. We'll work on that as well to try and bring some of that stuff back. A big part of what we're gonna do here is try and recover some of the interior as well. That's where you sit and that's where you're spending most of your time. Obviously, you're not looking at the car from the outside. But as you can see, there's a lot of staining in the seats, all right? We're gonna get into that. Taj is going to use vacuums and some extractors and such. We'll get the appropriate soap on there, a cleanser, get that vacuumed out of there and cleaned up, dried appropriately. We'll spend some time in the column area. You'll see some spilled coffee, some different snacks that are kind of left over in there. Up on the deck, we're gonna get all in through the dash. Obviously, we'll pull the mats, but you can come in and take a look at the seats as well as the door handle. You'll see we'll be able to get that to its original color and make sure that looks really nice. As I said, we recondition cars fully here. If we have damage to the seats, we can repair the seats. If we have damage to the wheels, we can repair the wheels. And what we're gonna look to do today is get our guy to go through these wheels. We're gonna do some repairs to the scuffs and scrapes. The wheels finished up and really shiny are gonna make the car pop and look terrific. So we're excited to get started on the project today. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming back with us. You remember Taj, you remember Sammy from this morning. You didn't meet Matt this morning, but he's hanging in the back there. He was finishing things up. The first thing I want to tell you is that I didn't do a thing to this car. Taj, Sammy, Matt in the back, they did all the hard work. There's literally nothing they didn't do on here. All I did was stand over there and give them a hard time and stare at them. They're like, Mike, why are you staring at me so much? We're gonna talk a little bit about what we actually did to the car. I'm gonna move around with Sammy a little bit and with Taj. First thing we did was pull in the car and we took a quick assessment of the car. There were some typical trouble spots that we pointed out before. The hood was one of them. As you can see, Sammy spent a ton of time buffing out all the scratches and all the imperfections in the hood, as well in this bumper area. You'll remember some of the damage, whether it be bugs, scratches. There was a lot of stone chips in there. Sammy laid in some paint on both sides of that, cleaned it up, buffed it, and polished it in the end. Working right around the car, we talked about this area. This is one of the big trouble areas that got caught by a snow shovel. Sammy cleaned that all up, laid in paint, wet sanded that, and then buffed it, and then polished it. Where you're right now, you're probably having a hard time noticing there was anything there in the first place at all. You'll see in the bottom corner of the bumper there, Sammy also laid in a bunch of paint there. That's a little bit deeper gouge. That's something typically we wouldn't handle. We kind of hid that a little bit just to make sure the car looked really nice. Moving right along, this is a very typical area where the scratches are prevalent. You can see, especially around the door handle, a lot of times keys will hit there, people with belts will knock into it, your cell phone, that type of thing. But Sammy buffed all those out as well as that hood line right there. So that whole area is nice and clean. This rear quarter all cleaned up. This rear, the top to the trunk, was really, really a mess. We spent a lot of time back here. Sammy polished all that up after he buffed it, sanded some of it. You can kind of see a little bit of remnants where he laid in some paint, wet sanded that, and got it all squared away. You want to swing right around to the back bumper. That was the next area that we pointed out. We had to put a lot of paint in there as well. All right, so Sammy touched up a lot of the bumper. You'll remember that was all scratched up when we picked it up. All right, so now I want to point out the wheels. We also did the wheels. We finished them up. You really can't notice any of the imperfections that were in there. Those were all scratched up and curb rashed. He had to scrub this after he kind of got the seats very wet. And then we have some like pneumatic brushes that we take on and we scrub these whole areas. You'll remember the entire seats were covered in stains. We scrubbed those all out, as well as got some of the headliner up here, the floor mats to make sure they were nice. We dropped down the armrest, make sure these areas are cleaned out, cup holders. We also touch up with like a little shining agent the backs of the plastic parts to make those clean up and pop a little bit on the car. Again, Taj worked really hard to get all the stains out of these seats. If you notice how beautiful that door looks completely cleaned up, as well as the wheel area, the center column, all right, the dash up here, and the door over here. Cleaned up all the scratches, made sure he made that look clean and nice. You can't notice any of that stuff that was in there before. Cleaned up the floor. Everything looks terrific in there. Taj, it's a great job. Guys, the last thing we're gonna do today is we're gonna go surprise our customer with this terrific detail that the guys put together for him. We're gonna try and sneak him in the back and surprise him with the way the car looks.
Are you kidding me? Dude. Look like your car, buddy?
Is that my car? Holy mackerel. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I can't believe that. Oh wow, I can't believe those scratches are out. I can't believe you've done this.
If you go down there and look at that,
That was scuffed. That was scuffed horrible. Wow. It looks like it just rolled off the showroom. I can't believe this thing. Wow, what a great, man, what did you armor all of this? Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. Again, really appreciate it. I was really so happy to see this like this. I mean, these little details are all fixed and everything. There were some rough spots on it and it's beautiful now. I was blown away just by the paint. I opened the door, that was just more icing on the cake. It's beautiful.
If you want to be happy like Chuck, come down to Mohawk Honda Detail Center. It's amazing. Contact me, John Higgins, 518-370-4911, extension 184. I'd be more than happy to make you as happy as Chuck today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, brother.